Hey everybody, welcome to my channel. My name is Justin. Thank you for joining me today. Today I want to talk about Tapestry, which is one of the stocks I personally own. I've nearly doubled my profits here in the last 5 months, so I thought this would be a good time to talk about what my plans are, my plan to sell, my plan to hold. What are they? So before I get into it, guys, if you enjoy this video, please like, please subscribe. Really helps out the YouTube channel, helps out the YouTube algorithm, pushes it out to more people, and I personally appreciate it. So thank you very much. So let's get right into it. If you don't know much about Tapestry, they own 3 major brands. So they own Stuart Weitzman, they own Kate Spade, and they also own the big one, Coach. So you typically see their stores in the malls, you see them in the outlets. So they're typically brick and mortar stores. So now you can see by this snapshot, 50% of their revenue comes from handbags. Now I thought it was pretty interesting because 14% of their overall revenue came from men's apparel. So if you can afford it, to each his own. I cannot. 60% of their revenue comes from the United States. So they are a big major player internationally. In 2019, they had about 21,000 employees. Unfortunately, because the whole Roni Rena situation, they had to reduce their headcount by almost 20%. So this is a company that has about a $7 billion market cap. So let's kind of talk about what's happened with the stock. Why has it gone up so much? Like I said, I bought it back in June. Here's a snapshot here. You can actually see that the stock was up at $55 a share back in June 2018, and you can kind of see a slow decline. And then right before the whole Roni Rona situation, it was around $30 a share, and then March happened and the whole industry tanked, right? If you're attached to any kind of brick and mortar store, you just saw your stock just completely be obliterated completely. So I got lucky. I started buying in around this stock at its lowest in the 12s. It doesn't usually happen that way, but in this case it did. So you can see that circle and the arrow there, that's where I ended up buying it at. The quarter two earnings report came out from Tapestry, and they did beat analyst expectations in the second quarter pretty handily, actually. And so you kind of saw their stock going up in July, in August, September, but then you see a huge increase in October. In fact, they jumped up over 40% in October alone. So the reason why it drove up so high so quickly is that their quarter three earnings came out and they completely crushed all expectations overall. So they were up over 60% in revenue from the previous quarter. The earnings per share beat analyst expectations by over 150%, which is unreal. Their free cash flow was over $60 million for the quarter. So, overall, it was a phenomenal quarter. And so that's why their stock just shot up so quickly. So it's important to note that they do have a new CEO for this company. Her name is Joanne. I won't even try to pronounce her last name because I will butcher it completely. But she was the CFO for this company for a while. The original CEO stepped down. And they made her interim CEO for a few months, and they made it official, making her the official CEO in October. So that is important to note, because I do think that she does have a hand in why they've done so well. But when they asked her specifically why do they see such an increase in revenue and profits in the third quarter, and she told reporters that she feels that women right now are willing to pay more for a handbag during this during the pandemic. And that is a really interesting point that I'll get back to towards the end of this video. But as part of their earnings report, the company did say as well that they kind of transitioned from the brick and mortar stores and really trying to go more online, and they did really tailor in on the millennial generation, the younger generation with that. And they did find that actually selling online was cheaper for them. So not only that, the costs were cheaper, and not to mention that they had a 20% headcount, like I mentioned before, which reduced costs, but the whole process of selling online was cheaper than out of their brick and mortar stores. And so they put a lot of money into, the online infrastructure and IT technology, which is going to really help them out into the future as well. So I think it's a positive thing that the company, started that transition. So guys, what am I planning to do with my shares? Well, to be honest with you, originally when I started buying the shares around $12.60, I continued to buy when above a little $13 roughly, and then I stopped. And so my original plan was, hey, once it hits about $25 a share, I about double my money, I'm getting out at that point. My opinion has completely changed on this company entirely. I'm really impressed with this new CEO and management, how they've really transitioned over the last two quarters, really, specifically online sales. But a comment that the CEO made about, hey, women want to, are willing to buy, handbags and pay more for them right now during the pandemic was interesting. And I started thinking, if I was someone that was well off, I'm rich, what would I spend my money on? The simple answer is I would travel. I would, jump on a plane. I would go to the Bahamas. I go vacation. I jump on a plane, maybe go to Vegas, do some gambling. Jump on a plane, maybe go visit, some family members in another state. Well, the way the, situation is right now, people either can't travel. There are still countries that are not allowing, U.S. citizens to come into the country. Another aspect is people just don't feel safe right now traveling, with the whole, virus thing that's going on right now. So I think there's a lot of wealthy people that are sitting around not really doing anything. They still have money. They're one of the classes that didn't really get impacted, like lower income or even the middle class did. So they still have money. So I think they're using that money and they're buying handbags, they're buying apparel, they're buying shoes. So I think that's why we've seen Tapestry have this big increase in revenues and profits. That's what my personal bullish thesis is. And so I'm really interested to see how this company performs over the next 2 months. When I thought maybe $25 is really a cap, where I think, it's certainly not above $30, I've kind of changed. I think they can start doing really, really well. And analyst expectations were, hey, this company is going to grow 27% over the next 5 years, and they've only been growing about 4% over the last 5 years, so barely keeping ahead of inflation. So my personal opinion, and I'm not a financial advisor or anything, but my personal opinion is I think they're going to have double-digit growth over the next 3 months, and even more so over the next 6 months. So I'm really excited to see how this CEO, new management team really, transition aligns them going, a lot more online, and then also seeing how the economy does, and then seeing how some of the well-off people are purchasing over the next 6 months, because I think that's going to continue. And I'm really interested to see over the holiday and Christmas and that sort of thing, to see what the Tapestry sales are going to be. And I mentioned in another video of mine too, but one of my bigger positions right now is Nordstrom. And they're reporting earnings here in a couple of weeks, and I'm really interested to see what they do, because their stock has been hammered. And I have made another video about Dillard's, and I encourage you guys to go watch that one too, where I feel like Dillard's is just so overvalued right now. But Nordstrom is a different case, and they're structured more towards luxury brands and higher class. And so if we're seeing a pattern of Tapestry increasing their sales with expensive handbags and apparel and that sort of thing, I want to see what Nordstrom's going to come up with, and I think they're going to beat expectations. And I don't know if they're going to crush them, but I think they're going to beat analyst expectations. And that stock is shorted so heavily right now that it's just going to take a little momentum, and that stock is going to shoot up. because the short sellers are going to have to cover their positions, and it's just going to keep going up and up and up. So I'm really excited about that company, even more so now too. So we'll kind of see how all that plays out. But that's kind of what I want to talk about in this video today, guys. Again, if you really enjoy it, please like, please subscribe. I really appreciate it. And I hope you guys have a great day, and I'll catch you on the other side. God bless.